The Nike logo, don't ask me what it means, but you'll see this is just one example. I have to be brief, but there's many examples of this. All of these pirate families became fabulously wealthy because from day one they were purveying opium, they were purveying alcohol, and they were purveying other things, slavery. They were involved in slavery when they colonized America and these other countries. And some of them, these families went on to become fabulously wealthy and are still known today. But as I said, they're not the rags to riches companies. Seagrams and all of these groups have a long ancestry in Bushmills. And one of them is the Bacardi group, right? Well, they are descended from these types that I'm telling you about. Here is their headquarters in Porto, in Portugal. Those flames are 10 feet high. And in the middle of there is the logo of the vampire bat with blood dripping down from it. So I don't know what it tells you about a corporate headquarters that has flames and 10 foot high with a blood-soaked vampire bat for the logo. But you can guess what their consciousness is like and the stream of dead bodies that they've left behind with their poison that they've been disseminating for generations. And here in the corporate logos, again, suggestion. They're telling you, they're suggesting to you that these companies that are famous come from the pirates. They do it in a designer way so you don't catch it. But if you know what is going on here and the symbols that are being used, they'll be too happy to tell you about the sun and who they are and the pyramid and the fact that where they have got their money and what they've been into and who they've been denigrating. One of the ancient symbols of these societies is the claw. I bring this up because you see a lot of motifs that look like corporate logos. You know, these are pretty much, you see these generically on banks, right? Look again. Do you see how that is a claw of a tiger or a bear? Because that's what it is. There's ancient societies called the African Order of the Tiger, of which your FDR, Roosevelt, was a member of an order called the Ancient Order, the African Order of the Tiger. And their symbol was the claw marks. And you'll often see a claw like that surrounding the earth. Because these secret societies believe that that's what they're doing. That they are, in fact, gripping the earth. Owning the earth. 666, everybody's into it. Can't spend too much time on it, but there's a lot of symbolism in the whole concept of the 666, the 3 6s being used in corporate design. Here's the old company gateway before they changed it to a black and white cube. They used to use the 3 intertwined 6s and talk about gateways. But in the time remaining, I want to share with you some more of the connections between the corporate logos and astrology. And Friedrich Nietzsche summed it up. He said, as long as you still experience the stars as something above your head, you will lack the eye of knowledge and never know wisdom. And was he right? Because stars are everywhere. They're on everything. The zodiac is one of the archives that the designers and the media giants go to. Their designers know to go to the realm of Sabianism and talismans and magic and to astrology to look for, and to alchemy. They look to the esoteric in order to have, to be in business. Although this is a carefully guarded secret. And talking about the zodiac, the Bible says that God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons, for days and for years. Let them be for signs. The signs of the zodiac have an ancient history. The zodiac is where we get a lot of these symbols, because the 12 signs that you're familiar with, the 12 generic signs of the zodiac, there are actually 88 constellations altogether around the ecliptic. 88 symbols. You don't know about those, but the advertising people do. They research them. They're not going to use the ones that you're familiar with, because then we'd catch on, wouldn't we? So they use the other ones, or they'll tweak or change things around. I'm going to give you some examples of how they do that. But cities, as I said, were based on zodiacs. Here's Paris, divided into the 12 divisions, coming to the central arch with a phallic symbol in the middle. From the heavens, you have the constellations. They're not physically up there, it's just observation. But from there came the great symbols of the lion, for instance, and the crab from the night sky. The first theater of mankind was the night sky, which he could draw the pictures of his mind. And lots of these logos, lots of these symbols that we recognize as astrological symbols, nothing negative in them, but then they turn up in the corporate world, as we'll see in a minute. Stars on flags, all over the place. One of them, if you're into this, by the way, if you have a plan to go on and do any of your own marketing in any field, it's very important to know what they do, because what they do, you can also do. You can take your power back and use the same motifs, but use it for positive reasons, proactive reasons. Know, just very basically, that in astrology, there are 4 signs: fire, water, air, and earth. But the corporate people mostly use the fire signs and the earth signs, because fire has to do with energy and libido and will to power, and earth signs have to do with money, materialism, and ownership and assets. So just even using astrology as a, what you call, a hermeneutic of understanding how corporate logos are used is very important. And then you can start using it based on your own chart, for instance, or the message that you're trying to get across. Using the 4 elements is a very handy way of doing it, because it involves colors and different other kinds of techniques that you can use. Here's a good example of how stars play a role. This is considered the bear, which is the generic grizzly of America, of California. No, it's not where the symbol comes from, because the red star in the corner gives it away. The bear that they're talking about here is Ursa Major, the bear, up there. And the star is the pole star that the bear turns around. So what you have there is an astrotheological motif disguised in another way. Very, very well disguised, as a matter of fact. For years, down through the centuries, the bear, the 7 stars were called the Magnificent 7, or the Shining 7. The 7 planets, even, if you want to look at it. The 7 planets in the heaven, the 7 lights, which we find turning up as archetypes and stereotypes everywhere. Just observing how much the simple symbol of the sky is used in corporate logos as a backdrop is very important. The sky. Here's the symbol for Leo, astrological symbol for Leo. This is the astrological symbol for Virgo. The sun moving into the constellation of the Virgin. Virgo is where you get the Columbia Pictures symbol from. This is the ancient symbol of Cancer, the white horse, before the crab. Anybody here a Cancer? The star sign? Yes, some of you? Right. Well, before you were given the symbol of the crab, your ancient symbol was the white horse, or the unicorn. That's why you see on royal heraldry that symbol. So the white horse is a symbol of Cancer, and so when you see the sun behind the horse of Tristar, it just represents the sun in Cancer. It's an astrological motif. And the Virgin is Virgo, with the 12 stars in her hair, or the crown of 12 stars, the zodiac. And the winged horse, as you see on heraldry here, represented Leo and Cancer, the constellations in the northern sky, right beside each other, the house of the moon, Cancer, and the house of the sun. This is again based on astrology, and the winged horse being connected with Cancer. In Merrill Lynch, you have the symbol of the bull, which obviously is very clear, relates to Taurus, which is an earth sign. You see how earth signs, Taurus, represents money, ownership, finances. So you have a financial company here using an astrological symbol because they know what it means. Sagittarius. Anybody here a Sagittarius? Star sign Sagittarius, yeah. Your symbol is used as a horseman, right? With the bow and arrow. Here you find it. Look at the solar symbol on the bottle. It's already made like the sun, because Sagittarius is a fire sign. Anyone who's a Sagittarius knows that they're a fire sign. Here's the lady with the bow. One of the latest Cadillac advertisements, literally on television, showed a person firing an arrow down a street, and then came the car. Using the bow and arrow motif, you'll see it a lot. It relates to the sign of Sagittarius. What I'm talking about is not the normal astrology. They're using different kinds of associations. The corporation Safeway relates to the sign of Cancer also, because anyone who knows astrology knows that the sign of Cancer has to do with safety, security in the home, and food, mother, and nurturement. So the safe way, right? And the yin-yang of the Cancer. And it also has to do with property. So the Cashin Company, which is a real estate brokerage, use the symbol for Cancer, because in Cancer astrology, Cancer rules the home and property and physical assets. Remember we said that Freemasonry is the blue and red degrees? Right? The opening degrees of Freemasonry are called the red and the blue degrees. You'll see a lot of those symbols around. Here is the Cancer symbol again. The yin-yang. Yeah. But if you spell that word, it's an anagram for the word males. M-A-L-E-S, males. you couldn't have astrology without 4 cardinal points or 4 stars in the sky through which it becomes all possible. So you'll see a lot of corporate logos using this forester or 4-star motif. When you ever see the word forester or these motifs, realize they're talking about astrology and the 4 cardinal points, the equinoxes and the solstices.